Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. Thought I smoked cabbage. Afternoon, all my fabulous fruity fart knockers. Den here. You guys see I did No Shave November? Yeah. I hate it. Yeah, I don't like it. I have like the coarsest facial hair known to man. I got these soft, voluptuous curls up here, but down here it's like I'm a porcupine. So that's tight. But any hooser, we've made tier lists for quite a few different genres of guitar at this point. But for this week's tier list, I thought I would switch it up a little bit. You see, the issue I keep running into with these tier lists is you guys think I'm talking about the person playing the guitar and not the guitar itself. And then you guys start cyberbullying me. I gotta start going to therapy. It's a big ol' ordeal. So to alleviate that, today we're gonna make a tier list ranking the guitar players instead of the actual guitars. And I can't think of a better one to start off with than a famous Les Paul players tier list. And that's what we're doing today. Now, some of the rules from the guitar tier list still apply here. I can't get all of them, you heartless animals. Every single tier list, I get like 10 comments from you donkeys genuinely offended, saying stuff like, oh, well, I cannot believe you didn't put Billy McShitterson's Bust a Nut Burst in the S tier. Are you even a real guitar player? But yeah, if I missed your favorite guy, roast me in the comments, I guess. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into this. So here with me today, I have about 20 or so of some of the most famous Les Paul guitar players in existence. Now, every single tier list, we switch the tiers up. And for this week's video, our S tier is just going to be overpowered. These are for the guitar players that just check an insane amount of boxes. They can absolutely slay ass on the guitar. Obviously, they would have had an incredible amount of influence on just the guitar world in general. Maybe they just straight up changed the game when it comes to guitar playing. Our A tier for today is gonna be called Squag / Swill. Maybe they haven't gotten to the point to where they are an overpowered famous guitar player, but they still have an incredible amount of both skill and swag. Moving on down, our B tier is gonna be all skill, no swag. These are for the guitar players that are incredible at playing guitar, and they are much better than I will ever be. However, while they are an incredible guitar player, maybe they don't really have any real stage presence. Maybe they're just nervous, they don't like the spotlight. It's not a negative per se, but just for whatever reason, they don't have as much pizzazz as someone that's in the A or S tier. Usually our C tier is gonna be the mid tier, but for this week's video, it's gonna be all swag, no skill. These are for the guitar players that ooze stage presence and personality, but when it comes to just their raw guitar playing ability, maybe they're not quite as good as the people in the tiers above them. Now, our D tier is gonna be didn't reach their full potential. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Like, this shouldn't count as a low tier, by the way. This is like a separate tier. And then our F tier for today's video is should be on a watch list. You'll understand when we get there, but let's get this show on the road, starting off with Jimmy Page, a regular on my tier list videos. He's played Les Pauls, he's played Telecasters, he's played some other guitars that I don't care about, but when I think of Jimmy Page, I think of him playing his #1 or his #2 1959 Les Paul standards. That's kind of like the joke, is Jimmy Page sold more Les Pauls than anybody else in the history of man playing a Telecaster. Jimmy Page is like this anomaly of a guitar player. If he wasn't Jimmy Page, people would say he's a really sloppy guitar player. But since it's Jimmy Page, he kind of just makes it work. He's one of those guitar players where I feel like he just sends it. Like he's like, my fingers are gonna do stuff and whatever happens is just gonna happen. And for whatever reason, it just always works. He also has 2 of the sickest 1959 Les Paul standards in existence. I don't think anyone's really gonna disagree with me when I say that Jimmy Page belongs in the overpowered category. We're gonna stick to the Yardbirds fellas here for a second because we've also got Mr. Jeff Beck on this tier list. R.I.P. in peace. I really liked Jeff Beck's guitar playing. I don't understand how he got some of the sounds he got out of a guitar without using a pick. It blows my mind. He's maybe more famous for playing Strats, but he also had this real famous Gibson Les Paul. I feel like Jeff Beck belongs in the Squag category. Moving on, we've got Mr. Duane Allman from the Allman Brothers Band. Now, Duane Allman was pretty famous for playing a 59 Les Paul standard, I believe. He was a real big slide guy. He loved his slide guitar. But the thing about Duane Allman is he died pretty dang young. Duane Allman died when he was only 24 years old. And because of that, I feel like we never really got to see Duane Allman's full potential. Moving on, we got Mr. James Hetfield, the lead singer and rhythm player for the biggest metal band in existence, Metallica. Not only did he redefine metal as we all know it, not only does he have one of the most fucked right hands of any guitar player that has ever existed, he can also sing while playing some of the most fast and fucked riffs you've ever heard. Now, he's not particularly known for being a Les Paul guy. He's more so an explorer kind of player. But he has a Les Paul that he didn't even play for that long that became one of the most iconic Les Pauls, and that, of course, is his Iron Cross Les Paul Custom right here. James Hetfield is pretty damn overpowered. And then, of course, we have his partner in crime, the lead guitar player for Metallica, Mr. Kirk Hammett. People really piss me off when they talk about Kirk Hammett. Like, why is everyone so insanely mean to Kirk Hammett? He seems like a pretty chill guy, all things considered. He gets so relentlessly bullied for his guitar playing, even though it's some of the most influential guitar playing in existence. That's not to say he hasn't done stuff that I don't think is kind of poopy. Now, the reason he's on the Les Paul tier list is because he bought one of the most famous 1959 Les Pauls in existence, and he has since made it his own. That is, of course, the Greeny 1959 Les Paul Standard that was owned by both Peter Green, Gary Moore, and now Kirk Hammett. And ever since he bought that guitar, it's kind of become his whole personality, which, I mean, is fair. Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like people don't give Kirk Hammett the credit he deserves. Not only has he made some of the most famous guitar solos in existence, but he also keeps up with James Hetfield when it comes to rhythm playing. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that gets overlooked about Kirk Hammett. We've all seen that video of Metallica playing live in Toronto in the 80s, where Lars Ulrich pissed off James Hetfield, so James Hetfield decided to play Creeping Death as fast as he physically could. And it's literally like twice as fast as the studio version of the song. Kirk Hammett kept up with him. Fuck you guys. Kirk Hammett is a good guitar player. I want to put Kirk Hammett in the overpowered category, but I feel like you guys would draw and quarter my family in front of me if I did that. Just because he's got a little bit of a tendency to goof while they're playing live, as if you guys have never messed up at work before. So just so you guys aren't going to be little bitches in the comments, we'll put Kirk Hammett in the swag category. Are you happy? Assholes. Moving on, we've got Mr. Slash Slashleton from Slash and the Slashers. But yeah, Slash is kind of the reason why Les Pauls are even still around, because when Slash was coming up as a guitar player, everyone was into super strats, and Les Pauls were kind of being thrown to the wayside. But then Slash showed up with a fake Gibson Les Paul, might I add, and he melted everyone's face off with it. Not only is he an incredible guitar player, not only is he a symbol of rock and roll guitar in general, he also saved this genre of guitar that we all know and love. So obviously Slash belongs in the overpowered category. Eric Clapton from a bunch of shit. Y'all know what Eric Clapton's about. He's made a song or two. I think you guys know who Eric Clapton is. He's had a few famous Les Pauls in his life. While he is a pretty damn good guitar player, I feel like Eric Clapton doesn't really have that same amount of swag that some other guitar players might have. I've never met him, so I don't really know, but I feel like he's also kind of a grouch in real life from what I've heard. I feel like Eric Clapton's just one of those guys that has all skill, but not really any swag. And you know what? That's okay. You don't need swag when you're as good of a guitar player as Eric Clapton. Ted Nugent plays Les Pauls. He's also a pedophile. Yeah, if you're gonna make a song about how badly you want to fuck a 14-year-old girl, then you should be on a watch list. Get help. Back to actual good guitar players, we have Mr. Randy Rhoads, the short little beast of a guitar player that was in Quiet Riot and then was Ozzy Osbourne's lead guitar player when he first started going off on his own. He is like the sole reason why I am hopelessly in love with white Les Paul Customs. And despite the fact that he died so young, he is still considered one of the greatest guitar players. And I mean, like, when you think about other guitar players that died pretty young, like Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan, I feel like Randy Rhoads didn't have as much time in the spotlight as those guys had. And despite that, he's still considered one of the greatest guitar players to ever live. I feel like that alone fully justifies Randy Rhoads being in the overpowered category. However, I don't think we ever got to see Randy Rhoads' full potential. I genuinely believe that if Randy Rhoads was still alive today, he would be considered the greatest guitar player of all time. If not, at the very least, he is right up there with Eddie Van Halen and Jimi Hendrix. Obviously, Randy Rhoads is overpowered, but I feel like it's better if we put him in the didn't reach his full potential category. Moving on to one of Randy Rhoads' replacements, we have Mr. Zakk Wylde. Insanely talented guitar player, oozes stage presence. The Bullseye Les Paul Custom is just as iconic as a regular Les Paul Standard or a regular Les Paul Custom. It's also like kind of impossible to get Zakk Wylde to stop playing guitar. That's one of my favorite things about him. He will sell out a stadium playing with Ozzy or playing with Pantera, and then like 2 days later you could walk into a bar and Zakk Wylde's just playing there. Like, dude will not say no to a gig. It's crazy. I think Zakk Wylde belongs in the overpowered category. And you know what? I'm gonna do a little thing to where I'm gonna copy Randy Rhoads and I'm gonna put him in the overpowered category as well as in the didn't reach full potential category. Mark Knopfler, aka the Dire Straits guy. He's the guy that made that one riff that's like bam. It's something like that. You know what I'm talking about. He just farted that out one day. Is that not insane? Imagine your fucking friend Terrence or whatever just walked up one day and it was like, hey, listen to this riff. And then like it becomes one of the most famous riffs in existence. He's another guy that doesn't play with a pick, and I still don't understand how he plays that riff. It's so weird. This guy obviously has the skill, but when you look at what he used to wear when he played live, I think he's got the swag also. I think Mark Knopfler can go into the swag category. Les Paul. Do I need to explain any further? This guy is the reason this guitar exists at all. He could also shred your nuts off back in like the 20s or whatever. I don't remember when he was like real famous. And him and Mary Ford obviously had some swag together. So Mr. Les Paul himself is also gonna go into the swag category. But this list would not be complete without his partner in crime, Miss Mary Ford. One of the fun things that I feel like not a lot of people know is that Mary Ford could play like literally almost everything Les Paul could play. And I think that is just so goddamn cool. Obviously when they were like a power couple, they were kind of oozing swag. Now we have Gary Moore, an absolute beast of a blues guitar player. Yeah, Gary Moore was just kind of like, I'm gonna make this guitar weep and sing the most beautiful thing you have ever heard in your entire life, and then I'm just gonna melt your face off for like 10 seconds. I'll just shred like I'm Steve Vai, and then I'll go back to playing the most beautiful thing you've ever heard in your life. That's what Gary Moore does with a guitar. He also owned Greenie for a significant period of time. He was the second owner of Greenie. I mean, just look at this picture of him. Obviously, he had some stage presence. Gary Moore is also going into the swag category. And now we've got Ace Frehley, the lead guitar player of Kiss. First of all, rest in peace, Ace Frehley. Ace Frehley is one of the most influential lead guitar players of all time. Of course, he's got his iconic Sunburst 3-pickup Les Paul Custom. I think Ace Frehley is also gonna go into the swag category. But we gotta ease off on that category here for a minute, because we've got the other guitar player in Kiss, Mr. Paul Stanley. He is also known to play a Les Paul every now and then. However, I think Paul Stanley is a bit more swag over skill. He is a really solid rock and roll rhythm guitar player, but you know, all things considered, is that really that hard these days? He's also a bit of a transphobe, which is pretty gay, so I think Paul Stanley is gonna be our honorary first member of the all swag, no skill category. Joe Bonamassa, Joseph Bonamosif, the boner master. I like Joe Bonamassa. He gets a lot of hate, and like, I can kind of understand that sometimes. He gets like oddly political at like the weirdest times, and then he deletes it. I don't know. I think he's a good guitar player. I don't know why some people don't think that. And I mean, like, when you think about what he's been able to do, sure, he's made his own music, but I feel like he's predominantly been more famous for his covers. And he's had such a successful touring career that he owns more 59 Les Pauls than God. Like, what's the median price for a 59, 58, 60 Les Paul? It's a couple $100,000, you know? I used to be able to say these guitars cost as much as a house, but that's not really the case anymore, because like a little shack is like $1 million now. Shout out to price gouging. I fucking love this country. But yeah, Joe Bonamassa, he's definitely got some skill. However, he doesn't really have that much swag, which is fine, because again, when you've got as much skill as Joe Bonamassa, you don't really need swag. I think he's proven that with how successful of a career he's had. I am a fan of Joe Bonamassa, but I believe he is also going to go into the all skill, no swag category. Joe Perry of Aerosmith. He is also an owner of one of the more famous 1959 Les Pauls. For those of you that don't know, it's a really fucking cute story. He was a rock star in the 70s. Obviously, he was gonna have some substance abuse issues. Obviously, wasn't very good with managing his money. So at a certain point, he had to sell a lot of his guitars and his gear. And one of them was his Tobacco Burst 1959 Les Paul. And then Slash ended up owning that guitar for a little while. And that was his baby for a long time. But eventually, Joe Perry realized that Slash had it, so he was kind of bugging him to buy it back from him. And after a few years, Slash just gave it back to him for his birthday. Is that not the cutest fucking story you've ever heard in your life? I like Joe Perry. He's a good guitar player. He's got some skill and he's got some swag, so obviously he's gonna go into the swag category. We've talked about Kirk Hammett, we've talked about Gary Moore, and now it's time to talk about the original owner of the 1959 Greenie Les Paul Standard. That's obviously Peter Green. What I really like about this picture of Peter Green is you can still see some of the red aniline dye on the Greenie Les Paul Standard. Very influential guitar player. I mean, he was the guitar player for Fleetwood Mac. Like, come on. So I think Peter Green is going to be the last guy we put into the swag category, because I can't keep putting people in this thing. Now, look at it. It's the biggest category by far. Okay, no more swag. No more. Our penultimate contestant is going to be Mr. Adam Jones of Tool fame. Tool is fucking sick. I love Tool. Yeah, Adam Jones is mostly known for being the Silverburst guy. That being said, just like Kirk Hammett, I think it's pretty fucking stupid how he partnered with Gibson to make like $20,000 replicas of one of his guitars. That's some cornball shit. But besides all that, I like him for his guitar playing. However, when you watch Tool play live, they just kind of stand there. And you know what? He's got some swag when it comes to how he dresses and how he presents himself. But when it comes to stage presence and stuff like that, I think Mr. Adam Jones, and every member of Tool for that matter, is all skill, no swag, which is okay. Now our final contestant in the famous Les Paul guitar players tier list is going to be none other than ZZ Top, Mr. Billy Gibbons himself. Again, this guy also has one of the most famous 1959 Les Pauls in existence. He's also got this really cool like pinstripe gold top Les Paul that's sick. I said Peter Green was going to be the last one to go in our swag category, but ZZ Top has some swag, and they've got some skill too. You know what? Fuck it. ZZ Top can be the last person to go in our swag category, because with him, we're done with this tier list, my friends. I like this one. This one was a little bit different. I'm glad that it wasn't the top category that was easily the winner. Instead, it was the second place category that was easily the winner. And I like that this time we were able to put a couple more guys in these lower tiers down here. I'm not trying to insult them, or, well, I am trying to insult Ted Nugent, but besides this bottom tier, I'm not trying to insult these guys at all. So yeah, I think that is going to wrap up my famous Les Paul guitar players tier list. Thank you all so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, give me your thoughts and opinions. I love to hear what you guys have to say. Share the video around. And if you regularly watch my videos and you haven't already subscribed, then I'm gonna get everyone in the swag category to pull up and beat you up in front of your family. It's gonna be like Dustin in the first episode of Stranger Things 5. Big shout out and a thank you to Cosmic Steez, A Horse Running, Solar Flare, Rob Heath, Bad Joe Guitars, Brandon's Valve Song Corner, Bandage Knives, Jan Chocolate, Leagues Beneath, Scott Toman, Big Tills, Torch of Hope, Mr. Crazy, Ollie Gilbert, and Demetrius Churush. These big titty goth girls are my current channel members, and their support really does mean a lot. If you want to join them, get a shout out in my longer videos, get access to the members only videos, and just help support this channel in a bigger way, then you can go down there, click the join button. Tiers start as low as 3 schmeckles. There's also the super thanks button down there if you just want to give me some money. But I am done being a tool. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.
Stay off between this.